All right. Good morning. 3, 2, and 1. I don't have my little clicker. We are all packed up because windows are being put in and all kinds of stuff. So anyways, good morning. Happy Wednesday, guys. It's been an interesting 2 weeks, right? I know you guys know I went to Austin to get some stem cell shots. And so that's done back, got sick on the way. Yay! But I am here, and today we're going to be talking about how can you step out of that critical thinking that's going on for you and really step into self-compassion. You hear that all the time, but it's one thing to hear it, it's another to know how to practice it. And so I'd like to kind of walk you through today in practicing it, showing you the how. Oftentimes people will give you a lot of advice, but they don't walk you through how to do it. And that unfortunately kind of leaves you wanting, right? I don't want to do that. I want to leave you today feeling that self-compassion, right? Okay. So a little bit of this is informational, and then we're going to practice it. So the very first thing to think about with self-compassion, the best way to start is think about someone that you love, someone that you care about, someone that you cherish, someone that you're so proud of. And as you're thinking about them and you're like, yeah, I'm so proud of them because of this. I love them because of this. I admire them because of this. Notice the feelings that come up. You might feel love. You might feel admiration. You might feel inspired. And especially if you were ever able to help them, right? You're like, wow, it was so great to be able to, see them smile and see them laugh and help them to know that they're loved. And so as you're doing that, it's like, oh, that feels so good. And that grows. And so as you feel that, notice where you feel it in your body. And then allow yourself to kind of remove them out of that picture and then put you in there. And you might go, oh, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't know how to do that. Well, the way is just imagine it. So take that same thing of, you know what? When we admire someone, when we're appreciative of someone, when we care about those things, it's because it reflects in us. It's because we have that similar kind of heart. We have that similar desire of life. There's things about it that draw us because we are similar, right? Law of attraction. And so as you allow yourself to take a look at that, you can go, oh my gosh, I totally enjoy inspiring other people. I totally enjoy making a difference in the world. I am all about trying to make people feel better, trying to remove the suffering out of life, making a difference in hearts so people can know that they're loved and just smile another day. And so as you're looking at that, you'll be like, whoa. And the subconscious mind that's housing all of the negative critical beliefs now starts to shift and go, okay, that is true. That is true about this person that I am. Okay, cool. Well, in the past, I never really allowed myself to think about it like that way. And that is allowing forms of self-compassion, okay? Now, the other thing to allow yourself is the grace to realize what you're going through may be very difficult. It may be so difficult that you've never gone through anything like it before. Or it may be difficult because it's something that you're always going through, dealing with high levels of stress, high levels of perfectionism, high levels of high expectation. Or on the reverse side, it could be constant levels of feeling not good enough and having a hard time even getting to where you want to be. And so as you're taking a look at that, you can see, oh my gosh, this is hard. Whichever kind of thinking you're going in, it's leaving you in this experience of, I'm not enough. What I'm doing is not enough. It's not perfect enough. And so it allows you to take a look and go, whoa, what if I was saying that to someone else? Ask yourself that question. My loved one, my children, my colleague, would I go to them? You're not enough. That's not perfect enough. You keep going. Try again. No, forget it. Trash it. You wouldn't do that. You'd be like, no, this is good. And if you want it to be better, then finish that so you could see what you need to do, get some feedback on it, and then continue to grow. We acknowledge for them their struggle. A big part of self-compassion is acknowledging this is damn hard. And then going, oh yeah, it is. No wonder it feels tough. No wonder it feels like there's a struggle, because it is. And a really good thing to add into that, and this is like really affirming for yourself, so like positive affirmations. This is really hard, and I love myself. I love myself through it. I love myself that I want to do it anyway. And hard is okay. Painful is okay. Having some suffering in life is okay. And so when you allow yourself permission and grace and affirmation, your nervous system that might be heightened and feeling kind of burnt out and on edge and like, oh my gosh, calms down because it's feeling compassion. It's feeling comfort. I hope that makes sense. So let me know if you're having any questions about that. Let me know, hey, I've tried to do that before, it didn't work, or, whatever might be coming up for you that you're able to see, yeah, I really want to change that. I don't like how the results are with that. Or I try to do it, but I feel nothing. Or I try to do it and nothing changes, right? As far as my thinking, my emotions, whatever it is that's not changing, let me know. Then we can kind of take a look and see where you might be stuck. And it could just be another heightened level of judgment, right? Another thing that is super, 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 super essential is allow yourself whatever's coming up that you're saying is not enough or not perfect enough, or you've got to keep whatever the expectation is, write it down, get it out of your head. Your conscious mind, I want you to think about it like the front of your computer, like where you pull up your windows. You might have a billion windows open, but you can really focus on one or two. That's it, right? Otherwise, you're not giving 100% to anything. And you want to give your 100%. You want to have it in excellence. So you can really only 100% on one thing, but you may be able to focus on two things. Like right now, I'm monitoring Facebook if anybody has any questions. I'm checking Zoom, making sure it's still working. I'm looking at my notes that I want to make sure that I address everything with you. So I'm glancing, but I'm only glancing at these other two, and I'm focusing on this one and you guys in the camera, right? So you can kind of see, I just want to give you that example of we only have a finite aspect of where we can focus, and that's what we want anyways. People think, oh, I should be able to multitask and do 100% into everything. No, you shouldn't. It doesn't work that way, right? You have two eyes, they don't focus in different directions on different things. Two eyes that focus in the same place. Focus is to narrow in, help you to concentrate on this particular thing, like I'm concentrating on you, right? Giving you my full attention. And then I can see if you guys have any questions in Facebook, I'm right there, right? So you, just like I promised, you know that I'm answering your questions, right? Okay. So what does that mean? Write it down. Again, sometimes people will give us guidance, but they're not really explaining what the heck that even means. So take a piece of paper, fold it in half. On the left-hand side, I want you to write down any negative thinking. Now, how do I know it's negative thinking? It makes you feel a negative emotion. It makes you feel sad. It makes you feel angry. It makes you feel lonely. It makes you feel anxious. It makes you feel fearful. It makes you feel overwhelmed. It makes you feel stressed. It makes you feel frustrated. It makes you feel disappointed. It makes you feel like kind of shut down, or I need to get away from this. That's negative. Now, a lot of times people say, oh, I don't want to go through that. I don't want that negative experience. You're already having it. It's just going on inside of you, and it's looping, 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 and you are not stopping it. You're just replacing it with something else. So you're already doing it. This is going to help you get it out. Kind of like if you drank too much or you ate something that made you sick and you need to get it out. That's all you're doing. You don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to get it out because I don't like that feeling. No, I need to get it out because this feeling's worse than getting it out. That's the thought. Holding it in is worse than getting it out. And you might be used to holding it in. That feels familiar. And this other way might feel uncomfortable, but helping yourself to know that some suffering, some pain, some uncomfortable is normal. It's when we make ourselves live there that it becomes a problem. So you're going to write down any negative thoughts. And then next to that, you're going to write down, how does it make me feel? And if you guys go to my website, sparkshope.life, you're going to see that there's a pop-up that allows you to access the setting boundaries document. And it goes through all the emotions. It goes through what the emotions need. And it goes through different activities that you can do to understand what your emotions need and see them as a guide. Grab that. So that way you're able to begin to work through this and understand those things. We can't just get it, right? Somebody can tell you how to do a problem, but until you practice the steps over and over and over and over again, you're not going to get it, right? You might practice it once, you're like, okay, got it. Now, some people may retain after that. Most people would be like, oh, I kind of remember, I don't think. Yeah, you got to practice. That's how the mind works. You didn't drive once. You continue to drive, which is why now when you drive, it's automatic. You didn't eat once. You continue to eat, which is why you no longer put it in your hair and in your ears and between your toes and throw it on the wall. Right? Food is no longer art unless it's the thing that you do. So it allows you to practice, and your subconscious mind makes it automatic. So write down those negative thoughts, put down the emotion that it creates as you think that thought, and you'll notice it may create another thought. So when I think that thought, it actually has me think this thought, and feel that way, and think this, and this. And it's going to help you get it out. All of that negative toxins in your body out. Now, it doesn't mean that they're bad and wrong and that you need to get rid of them. It means that they're in there and they need attention, right? The difference between when you throw up and when you get it out that way, you flush. It needs attention, right? But let's say you're throwing up and there's blood in it, or you're throwing up and there's stuff in there that you didn't eat, or you're trying to throw up and there's food, but nothing's coming up. Or let's say on the reverse side, you're trying to eat, but your throat won't let it go down. Your stomach keeps bringing it back up. There's something that needs attention. So when you bring these negative things out, allow yourself to look at them more scientifically. Like, what's going on in there? What is this here? What has me have that there? And you may not be able to do that on your own. It's likely that you won't. And that's why I'm here. I want to be able to help you go through that so you can create that. That's another level of compassion. Taking a look at what's going on, what's needed versus what's wrong with me? Why is this a problem? Why does this keep happening? Why can't I get to here? I keep trying to get to there. Why can't I? Right? And judgment, criticism. When you allow yourself to write it down, get it out, you're already creating compassion for your thinking. When you notice the emotions, you're creating compassion for the emotions. As you begin to notice what those emotions need, straight out compassion, as you're learning to step into them and understand them and go, oh, I don't need to avoid this. I need to understand what it's telling me, because it's telling me what I need. We're not taught that. So when we have our emotions, instead we shut them down, get rid of them, shove them under the rug, eat them, right? We eat our emotions, or we avoid them, cover them up with everything else, and then they're over there. And then we were like surprised when we're smelling that. What is that? Why does that keep coming up in my life? Because it's not being brought up, taken care of. Those are specific variable steps, various steps, step by step that you can practice that will help you create more compassion. Now, as you're looking at that list that you're going to get off my website at sparkshope.life, you're going to be able to see. So for example, fear not taken care of will lead to anxiety. People do not understand that those go together. They think anxiety is just a thing that they can't stop, and it's just something that means they're broken. It doesn't mean that. Now, if there's something going on that the brain is having a particular chemistry where it just happens and nothing's wrong, then that's different. But in most cases, that's not what's going on. That started from something. We created a level of thinking, which created that chemistry going on in the brain, which created the emotion going on in the body, because the emotion's trying to tell us, hey, what you're thinking, what you're believing, what you're practicing is creating this emotion. So this emotion is saying, hey, let's learn how to stop that. But because we didn't know that, we continue to do that thing, continue to get that emotion, continue to do that thing, continue to get that emotion. Now we're doing something else to try to cover up the emotion, something else, maybe medications or maybe therapies or maybe different things. But if we're not getting a therapy that helps us get it out or a medication that helps us get it out, then it's sort of just a Band-Aid. It's getting some of it out. Like oh, this is what happened. This is what happened. That's what happened. This is what made me hurt. This is what I believe. But you have to take the next step. This thought, this belief, because of this experience, instead of going, I can't ever change that experience, so I can't ever change that thought, and I can't ever change that emotion. What we believe about something can create the most amount of suffering in our thinking, right? So for example, when I was a kid, my mother was abusive, my father was protective. As I got a little bit older, my father was abusive, and so was my mother. She sort of stepped in and became a little protective because she knew she had to when she found out what was going on, but she still was doing it in a very abusive way. And that was my life up until I ended up in foster care. So because of those 14 years, and I have to use the whole solid, no, 15, I have to use the whole solid 15 years because my mother started very early, very, very early, in diapers. I don't remember it that young. I just know it was happening because that, well, yeah. Anyways, so 14 years, 15 years of practicing a particular thing, confirmation, helps you to make it automatic. It's not like you're doing it intentionally. It just happens. Even if you're practicing something for a year, the neurological pathways become automatic. So if you, and some things, if it's traumatic, bam, it's there fast. You automatically have something set. I'm never driving my car again because of that accident. I'm never getting into a relationship again because of that person. I'm never fill in the blank, right? And that could happen in a very short time. Because if we don't realize we're creating these beliefs that are not accurate, we don't have to create them. When we stop and go, oh, so that was a belief I made up. And I believe that when I make a belief, it's the truth and I can't change it. Then of course I'm going to keep going down that path. But if I create a new understanding of self-compassion and a new understanding of the way my mind works and the way my emotions work, which is, wait a second, I'm in control of my thoughts. I'm in control of the beliefs I create. So I can discreate that and create something new. Wait a second. So that means I can now, this is a little bit, for those of us who are a little older, I can rewind a tape and I can record over it. I don't have to keep what's on there. Absolutely. That is exactly the way your mind works. That's exactly the way your experiences work. But we're not taught that. We're taught, oh, that happened to you. This is how you felt. Let's talk about it. Let's get it all out. Okay, good. What you have there is what you're going to get. There's more. Wait, there's more. There's the aspect of being able to realize that belief that we made up about that, about ourselves, about that person, about that situation. What's another belief we can make up? So for example, I made up so many terrible things about myself. I made up that I was not worth it. I was not lovable, that I was not smart enough. I also had ADHD that I was struggling with. So I had all of this struggle with comprehension, struggle with focus, struggle. So I thought I was stupid. I thought that there was definitely something wrong with me, like a lot of things wrong with me. And I didn't just think it like, oh, that's a thought, but I know it's not true. I thought it and I believed that thought was the truth. And I lived that way, beating the shenanigans out of myself all the time because that's who I knew I was. I knew I wasn't even valuable enough to live. I didn't understand why I was even here. I didn't understand. I mean, I felt like God was punishing me. I truly believed that. And I knew I was going to end up in hell. Like those are some crazy thoughts, right? And I don't mean crazy, but like crazy, like, oh, I can't believe I was doing that to a human being. But I'm not saying it in judgment. I'm saying it in compassion. I'm saying it in, let's change that, right? Versus we can go, I can't believe this. What's wrong with me? Rah! And make it even worse, right? So be mindful. Compassion feels like compassion. Compassion doesn't feel like judgment or, oh, wait, this is crazy. How is this even a thing? What's wrong? What, like all of that? even though we might feel like we're responding healthily, we're actually responding in judgment. So notice compassion comes from here. It comes from care. It comes from not just empathy that says, I can relate, but compassion that says, okay, so how can we change this? How can we make it even better? And that's where you can start to realize your beliefs can be changed. Most of the time, they cannot be changed by you by yourself. I did not do this work by myself. I've done years and years and years of work since I was 17, and I'm almost 47 now. That's 30 years, guys. Actually, I guess I started it when I was 16. 16 is when I started therapy. 17 is when I started personal development. And I've been going ham on it ever since. My husband laughs. He's like, when are you going to stop training? I'm like, honey, never. It's just, I want to keep learning. I want to keep growing. Now, in the past, my learning and development was to try to be good enough. I got to do this next thing because that's not good enough. I got to do this next thing because I still don't feel good enough. I got to do this next thing. Master's degree, personal development up the yin yang. And I still felt like I was not good enough. And I believed that to be true. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't old enough. I wasn't in a high enough pay bracket. I wasn't tall enough, right? I wasn't pretty enough. Whatever it was, I was always not enough of it. When we're in that not enough experience, whether we're aiming for perfect, right, and high achievers, or whether it's folks who, like I was as a kid, just beating the hell out of myself, thinking I can never get anywhere anyways, just doing that next thing, trying to be enough. Either way, whether it's a high achiever or struggling, it's coming from this space of not enough, and you'll burn out. And you'll get to a place of feeling very frustrated, and frustrated for so long will actually bring you to the place of shutting down. We're depressing it, right? And we don't realize that depressed just looks like that. We're just depressing it. We think that depressed has to look like we're crying in ice cream or something. Depressed just means we're bringing it down, and what that looks like. For some people, it looks like being extra busy all the time. For some people, it looks like overeating. For some people, it looks like never getting enough sleep. For some people, it looks like binge watching all the time. For some people, it looks like getting in relationships that are not healthy and focusing on other people over and over and over and over. And I can guarantee you, I was in all of those at one point or another. And so not only am I speaking from working with now to the point of thousands of clients, I'm also speaking of that, of working through it with myself, with my own family, with my foster families, with my own development, with my own understanding, with my own emotional awareness, and my own having to learn how to bring self-compassion to a person I hated and believed she should die. And when I say that, it brings a pang, right? A pang of, that's painful. But because I've done so much of that work, and because I'm not re-experiencing it like it's the truth anymore, I feel good. I can look back at that and go, that was my learning. There wasn't anything wrong with me. That was what I needed to do to learn to grow because of what was done to me, right? And because of the beliefs I made about what was done to me. There wasn't anything wrong with me. That was actual proper coping. So I needed to understand that when you're stepping into a healthier place and healthier coping, right? That was proper coping for what I knew how to do. Now I knew other coping. And now I knew other ways to work through things. Now I knew other ways to stay in a healthy lifestyle and stay away from unhealthy people and set boundaries with unhealthy people so the relationship could become healthier. I have been practicing all this stuff for literally my whole life. And you can do it too. I am not so special. The clients that I work with, they're totally special to me, and I absolutely love them. But they're just like every other human being. They're just like you. So you can do it too. So I hope this has helped. I hope you can see how on the left-hand side, you're going to write down the negative thoughts. You're going to write down the emotions that come with it. And just to fill you in on the left-hand side, I think I said that, not sure. Left-hand side, negative thoughts and the emotions that come up. On the right-hand side, you're going to write down, what is the opposite of this? If I believe that I'm not reaching perfect, what might be true? Is my expectation too high? Am I being unfair to myself? Am I expecting things that are humanly impossible? I get to correct incorrect expectations of myself. I get to treat myself as I would as a friend. I'm not smart enough, or, I could do better. I did great. And I could try again if I'd like. I did great. Give yourself room to acknowledge you are doing great. When you feel you're doing great, then you could see, yeah, no, this is good. I don't need to do any better. Or you could say, yeah, I feel really great. This did really good. And what else can I do to add to it? Not better, because this is good. But you know what? I'd like to add this part too, because I see what people are asking. So I want this frequently asked questions there. Does it make it better? It makes it with more information. So you could allow yourself to see this is great, and this adds even more. But it doesn't make this one bad or wrong or not good enough. So that's what you're going to be doing to practice self-compassion for yourself. And guys, I'm going to be running in January. I'm in it now. I'm going to be running again, finding your joy in the midst of grief and loss. And so if that sounds like something that you're interested in, because there's things that we are practicing in our lives, like shooting ourselves to perfection when the perfection bar is well above. We could be having experiences of loss, of judging ourselves, and maybe in divorce, or things that have happened where we didn't connect properly the way we wanted to with our kids, or maybe just regular milestones, but we feel like we're stuck, right? Like you're a mom and the kids have gone, and like, who am I now? That's grief, that's loss. And then I'm also working with some clients where they literally had like a couple of them, their moms who lost their sons as adults. This is big stuff. And so grief and loss comes up in life, and it's so important not to be stuck with it. It's so important not to be stuck with it by yourself. It's so important not to be stuck in the suffering of it. So then you can find your joy in the midst of that grief and loss. And the goal is not to get rid of loss, not to get rid of grief. Grief is there to let you experience your love, to let you experience your loss. There's nothing bad or wrong about it, but there are ways that we can use it to torment ourselves and punish ourselves and shame ourselves and guilt ourselves and get stuck in that space, and sometimes for years. So let me know if it's something that you're interested. Comment in the comments below, or you could text message me. You'll see my information on all of my social media platforms. You can also reach me at symbol Coach Tammystar on any of my social medias. I want to make sure that you are getting the support that you need. All right, you guys, you take care of you. Bring it in. Big squishy hugs. Hugs for health. They're very, very good, scientifically proven to help the body heal, to help the soul heal. All right, you guys, know that you're loved. May God bless you each and every day. You're taking care of you. Give yourself that self-compassion. You so totally deserve it. Ciao for now.